Don't forget to get your tickets for the Invincible podcast live with an audience.
That's on Tuesday, May the 23rd at the Islington Assembly Hall, Rob. Not at the Emirates.
Not at the Emirates. I'm going to be here. Lee's going to be here. Loads of us going to be here. Ty's going to be there, isn't it?
Oh, well, if you want to miss him, get there early.
Make sure you check it out, right? We're going to have lots of fun on the night, and we're going to be announcing our player of the season. Get your tickets now by just clicking a link in the description
below.
How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Monday's edition of AFTV FANZONE. It's just me as usual. Make sure you download the AFTV Plus app, follow the instructions, and you can take part two. I know there's a few people waiting already, so we're gonna get into it shortly. But as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, the talking point is Gundogan and Mount links. David Ornstein tweeted earlier on today, or was it this morning? I can't remember off the top of my head, but he sorry. Unprofessional of me not switching off my phone. Actually, it's not even my phone, it's my watch. Apologies, people. I don't have to put my watch on silent, but I'll learn how to do that. Yeah, Ornstein tweeted out earlier today that we're after Gundogan if Xhaka leaves, which, to be honest with you, it looks very likely. There's reports that it's going to come out at some point this week that Xhaka will be moving on from Arsenal and giving him a farewell opportunity at the Emirates this weekend against Wolves. But we'll see, and we'll be here to break it as soon as that news does break. If it does break, we will be here. And now it's looking like Gundogan is deemed the replacement, if that is the case. And if you're asking me, I think that's an upgrade. I know Gundogan's 32 years of age, maybe touching 33. I know there's a lot of backlash with the rumours saying, you know, how are you going to catch up to City if you keep taking City's leftovers? I don't see Gundogan as a leftover. I see him as an integral cog to what Manchester City have achieved over the last, you know, however many years that he's been there. So we will talk about that, and we'll talk about Mount. On the flip side, with Mount, I'm not too sure about that, especially if the price tag exceeds 35-40 mil at best, and that's with English tax. I wouldn't be interested in a deal for Mount. He is a good player, but there's many doubts I have about Mount and how successful he can be at Arsenal Football Club. But it's, you know, FANZONE's about your opinions, you know, so make sure you download the app and follow the instructions. Let me find this tweet quickly. Here it is from David Ornstein. Arsenal trying to sign Man City captain Ilkay Gundogan. Arteta wants 32-year-old if Xhaka goes. Fresh attempts will be made to keep him at Manchester City, plus other options. Those other options rumoured to be Barcelona. And he also adds Arsenal additionally pushing hard for Rice and Mount, plus renewed efforts to secure Nwaneri, obviously the youngster we saw against Brentford, I think it was, away from home in the first part of the season prior to the World Cup. One thing that stands out to me is no Caicedo in this tweet. Is our attempts to get Caicedo just rumours picked up off of January? Is there still interest there? I hope there is, but that is very telling for me that in this tweet there is no Caicedo link or news that we're pushing hard for Caicedo. I always say this, I take things that people say on Twitter, in the nose journalists, with a pinch of salt, whether that is Ornstein, whether it's Romano, whether it's Chris Wheatley or any other tier one or whatever people like to say. Take it with a pinch of salt, because many times over the last few years, you know, they've been proven wrong in a lot of things. So as much as David Ornstein has tweeted this, and a lot of people look at David Ornstein as one of the bigger in the nose around Arsenal Football Club, he has been proved wrong in the past. So take it with a pinch of salt. But that's what he's saying this morning. He's saying that we're pushing hard for Rice and Mount, and we're attempting to go for Gundogan to replace Xhaka. I've given my opinions on Gundogan. I said a couple of weeks ago now that if Xhaka is to go, whether it be for 10 million, 12 million, 13 million, however much the price tag is, we can talk all day long about, you know, why we should be getting more or why we don't sell better. But at the end of the day, if we was to get Gundogan in, that would be an upgrade on Xhaka for me. Both quality on the pitch and leadership on and off the pitch. I think Gundogan is an upgrade in that department. But for me, it has to be a Rice Caicedo and a Gundogan. Gundogan has to be one of 3 midfielders coming in if Xhaka is to go, as we're led to believe is the case. So for me, Gundogan, I'll take him as one of 3 midfielders coming in this summer. One of 2, that is not enough in my honest opinion, especially when you look at his age and how much we could, squeeze out of him in terms of productivity over the next couple of years. I hear that the length of the contract is a big talking point for Gundogan, or a big indicator of where his next move will be. I believe City are offering a year extension with an option to add another year. I'm not sure that's a player option or whether it's a club option, but that's what's rumoured to be going around at the moment. So it looks like if we are to get Gundogan, if anyone's to get Gundogan, it's going to have to be a 2-year deal. And I'm for it. Mount, doubts. But let's get into the callers. Like I said, we'll get into it thick and fast. We're already a few minutes in, so I'm sure we've got people waiting. If you want to take part, then make sure you download the AFTV Plus app. Follow the instructions. It's easy enough. I logged into it the other day to have a word with Robbie on the Eddie Nketiah and Balogun stuff. So if you haven't seen that, you can go check that out too. Production, do we have people waiting? Junior, first up. Yes, Junior.
Hello.
What are you saying, bro?
Wish I could do better, but
There's a bit of background noise. I don't know if that's coming from you, or if it's coming from us, or if the people can hear it.
I think it might be my TV. Let me just check everything. Is it gone now?
Nah, it's not. Hopefully the viewers can't hear it, but if it's all good there, I'll work through it. Junior, I know why you could be feeling better, but essentially for me, we're still the talk of the town in a sense. When you look online, when you look at content creators, Expression just brings out a video with his brother rants outside the Emirates. They're still talking about us.
Very shameless.
They're still bantering about us. And for me, it's, it's been gone for weeks. After the Southampton game, for me, that's when it went. So I've overcome those emotions. Yes, people might reflect back to my fan cam after the game on the weekend against Forest and say, oh, but you were quite emotional there. Yeah, because I don't expect to see that level of performance. I expect you lot to at least go and beat Nottingham Forest and get our points tally up. Not that it means much because second is secured, but this whole league banter stuff, it's been over. So I've come to terms with it. The Junior, the audio is messing about quite a bit, so we're gonna have to potentially keep it moving. I don't know if you can try log out of the app and log back in and see if we can get you on later.
Yeah, I can try that.
Yeah, give that a go because we've got a few more people waiting, and the listeners are saying too much noise and so on. So
Okay.
we'll get you back on later.
Alright, thank you then.
Yeah, no worries. Who we got next? Deanie in the building as always. Yeah, what are you saying, man? No background noise. We're good.
One Turkish, you good?
Yeah. What are you saying?
Yeah, good. All good. Not too bad. Just going through the motions now. I'm looking forward to just getting the season over and done with. I'm looking forward to next season, see what we're gonna do.
The season's over and done with, bro. It's over and done with. It's been over and done with. So
No, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, so the question is Gundogan and Mount, and I'm similar to you, Turkish. I'm similar to you in the sense that with someone like Gundogan, I would be absolutely happy to bring it in, but we do need a Rice and a Caicedo as well. We can't just bring in a one because we will have Partey, Jorginho, and Gundogan, who are, I think Partey's close to 30 now, Jorginho's over 30. We do need that youth, especially going forward. And it's better if we can get it done now this summer and not worry about it and not worry about another team taking someone else. Like Tottenham took Bissouma last year. I feel like we could have done with Bissouma this year, but we didn't put up the money, we didn't put in the bids in. So yeah, I agree with Gundogan on that sense. And the same thing with Mount. Mount's a good player, but it's kind of like he's a good player, but not sure if he's gonna like flourish at Arsenal. But it was similar to like even Ramsdale at the start with me. Like I wasn't 100% sure about Ramsdale, but obviously that's not going to be the narrative for every player. But if Arteta wants that player,
have we lost you?
and
You're back.
oh no,
You're back, bro.
can you hear me?
Yeah. I think Deanie's having
Yes,
some trouble.
I don't know where you lost me.
Just go back to Mount again. Start from Mount.
So literally, what I was saying about Mount is, yeah, similar. He could be a good player, but whether he'll flourish at Arsenal, I'm not too sure. You're right, man. Whether he'll flourish at Arsenal, I'm not too sure. But if Arteta wants to play her, I'm happy to see what Arteta's going to do with Mount, what type of player he can turn into, because he does have qualities and he's still young, which is the main thing as well. He is still young, so he still has a lot to offer in that sense.
How many midfielders do you want to see come in the door this summer? Considering, let's say, Xhaka is exit bound.
Rice, Caicedo, Gundogan would be brilliant. And you know what? One more. Would I get another defensive midfielder though? I'm trying. I don't know if I'm being too cautious now, just to make sure that we do have enough cover in defensive midfield.
Do you think the Mount links indicate that Rice is coming in as a 6, or do you think it's a case of bolstering the 8 position?
Well, this is the question now, because is Partey going to be the starting 6 next season? I'm trying to think in my head now. Is he really going to be the starting 6? So wait, could you even repeat that question again?
Does the Mount links indicate that Rice will be coming in as the long-term successor for Partey, or do you think it's a case of Rice and Mount will come in to bolster the number 8 position?
No, not just yet. Not just yet. I'm not just yet. Even though Partey hasn't had a great end of the season, I still think he'll be starting. But I feel like someone like Mount over time could definitely take over in that 8 role. But also, we still got, well, is Smith Rowe even going to be here next season? That's the question. Because I saw some rumours over as the season was going on, that he was potentially learning that role. And maybe that's why he wasn't as, featured as much. Because even when Martinelli got injured, this was last season when Martinelli got injured, and there were rumours that he was trying to take on the striker role and everything else, and this, that, and the other. So, it's all a whole leap of questions. But I'd rather have more options than less options, because we need it for next season now. Because all of that was too painful. Is
Caicedo a must for you? Would you be disappointed if it is, let's say, Rice, Mount, and Gundogan?
I'd be very disappointed if we don't even make a bid for Caicedo this summer, at the very minimum.
Yeah, that would be the one. Yeah, that would be the one for me as well, to be honest. Don't get twisted. I like Rice too. And I think we should go for Rice if the opportunity is there and the price tag makes sense. And that's who Arteta wants, like you said. But that's not... We've given up on Caicedo. Okay? Because you know what? Before January, I hadn't seen much of Caicedo. I don't think many have seen much of Caicedo prior to January. But after January, with the strong links, the bids, and the rumours coming out that this summer we're going to want Rice and Caicedo, I've seen quite a bit of Rice. Caicedo I've paid extra attention to since January, and I can't lie, I love the look of him. Not even like the look of him, I love the look of him. So when I saw that Ornstein tweet and I didn't see Caicedo's name, I just thought to myself, is this what's going to happen? Then it's Rice or Caicedo, and then anyone else on top.
Well, it's out there now. Like it's been out there. We know we've had interest in Caicedo, so hopefully, I'm just hoping it will pop up somewhere else at some point down the line very soon. Because if we're not hearing rumors about Caicedo as early June, like even in the next couple of weeks, because when the transfer window opens, it's the 10th.
Yeah, 10th of June. What, 3 weeks away? 2.5 weeks? Yeah, 2.5 weeks away.
So it's not far away. And if I'm Arteta, I want these players through the door, on the plane, ready for pre-season, ready to go.
Yeah, same. You need to be proactive.
We'll see what happens.
100% Dini. Listen, Dini, love for the love as always, my guy. We'll talk again, I'm sure, real soon. If not before next Monday, I'm sure we'll talk again on Monday. So enjoy the rest of your day, my bro.
Yes, you too. And everyone else, take care and just do something else this week. Forget about Arsenal for the week.
Wise words. Thank you, Dini. We got a super chat here from Ricky. Turkish, agree with you on Gundogan bringing great experience. My concern is, doesn't having so many City players make it easy for Pep to figure us out? I get those concerns. I and this is coming from someone who over the years was tired of signing Chelsea rejects, but I don't see Jesus, Zinchenko and this summer Gundogan as rejects from City. I look at Jesus and Zinchenko and feel like they probably felt they deserved more game time, or they wanted more game time, especially when you look at their age and you know, heading into their primes age wise. And with Gundogan, obviously his best days are behind him. I'm not looking at Gundogan signing as just bringing in quality into the starting 11. I'm looking at the bigger picture and saying that's someone who's been there, done that in the league that we're in, and the experience that he brings could help as much off the pitch as it can on it when he's playing. It doesn't mean that I'd want Gundogan to come in as the primary 8. I still think we need a younger option, and not too young either, because there's a balance to it all. We've got a very young team at the moment, a young core. I'd, you know, lean away from too young, and if Xhaka goes, I think there's a spot for someone to come in and be that leader, be that experienced presence that the players, you know, need in difficult times like we've just seen at the back end of this season. So I think the pros for Gundogan, considering Xhaka's on his way out, far outweigh the cons, and I'm not looking at him as someone that's going to come in, play week in, week out. And then you might ask, why would he sign for us if he's not getting that promise? That's why I'm not really hoping. I haven't got high hopes for the Gundogan deal, because I feel like, you know, if his problem is game time, then I'm not sure we can offer him as much as he would like, which sounds quite mad considering he's captained City over the years and how much he's played for them. But it's hard. Like I keep on saying, I'll take Gundogan as one of 3, not one of 2. That for me is integral, because that's what we need. Minimum 3 with Xhaka leaving is what we need in the midfield positions. I'd probably lean more to 1 6 and 2 8s than 2 6s and 1 8. And then the debate comes in about whether Rice is an 8 or a 6. You know, very divided in opinion when we talk about that. And Caicedo, we've seen him play multiple positions. I see him more as a 6 than anything. Yes, he can do that inverted right back role. Not too sure about the 8 role for him, but I see him primarily as a 6. Whereas Rice, I can see in the 8 and the 6. So that's why I'm adamant that we go and get both, regardless of price tags. I think a lot of people are put off by potentially spending 200 million on those 2 players. The market is the market. What can we do? As much as the value of players has increased over the last 10, 20 years, so has the income for not just Arsenal, but all of the football clubs in the Premier League over the last 10, 20 years. So the value and price tags of players coming in has increased in line with the amount of money that the Premier League clubs get from sponsors or TV revenue and so on. So as much as it sounds like it's a mad thing, 200 million on 2 players, that is the market we're in. And if we want to get better, that's the market we have to play in. There's no other market. You know, you might pull out a shrewd signing or 2 here and there, but at the end of the day, I haven't seen any club win major honours without pushing the boat out a little bit in terms of price tags for players coming in. When City signed Grealish for 100 mil, Grealish, in my opinion, will never be £100 million player. But especially at the back end of this season, we've seen how important he's been to City's, I won't even say turnaround in form, because it's not like they was terrible the first half of the season. They just was in 3rd gear. But at the back end of this season, we're seeing the true value that Grealish brings to the side, and that doesn't come from a number. That comes from his productivity, his importance to the starting 11, his importance to the squad. So I think we've just got to do what we've got to do this summer in the market that's there. And unfortunately, for the people that like to look at numbers a bit too much, we're going to have to spend over the odds on certain players. That's just the way of Premier League life at the moment. Production, next caller. Iran? Did I say that right, Iran?
Yeah, Aaron, bro.
Aaron, okay. What are you saying, Aaron? All good?
Yeah, all good, man. All good.
Was you the one arguing with Robbie the other day about Balogun and Eddie?
Yeah.
I remember. I think I come on just after you. What are you saying, though, man?
Yeah, all good. all good.
What do you make of these Gundogan and Mount links? Let's separate the two players. Let's talk about Gundogan first. Would you take him as Xhaka's replacement, or do you think we should move away from signing City players?
Nah, I think if we were to sign a City player, Gundogan is obviously one of the better ones there, and he's a Manchester City captain. Like he's been performing in the latter end of stages of the season for the last 3 seasons. We've seen it now. And he's captained them to possibly a treble this year. So if we brought that kind of leadership, that mentality into our team, I think it'd be good. But I do agree that it's not just Gundogan. It's got to be Rice and Caicedo and then Gundogan.
Yeah.
It can't be Rice and Gundogan or Caicedo and Gundogan.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Rice, Caicedo, Gundogan would be perfect in my opinion.
Yeah. If that was a midfield 3, like those would be my first 3 choices. So my top 3 targets would be them. Mount is like the price tag for me. I know is going to be towards 50-60 million, and there's no need to do that when we're already going to probably pay 80 for Rice, and then if we are going to get Caicedo, another 80 for Caicedo, and then if you put 50 on Mount on top of that, you're 200 million on 3 players there, and that's kind of the budget for the window probably. So I would say Gundogan definitely over Mount.
What would be the limit you go to for Mount? If price tag is the reason why you wouldn't, because I'm with you, if it's touching 50-60 million, then just say no and fuck off to your next target. But what would be the limit for you? What would you pay? What would you pay for Mount coming into Arsenal Football Club?
To be honest, it depends on where Mount's coming into play. So if he's coming into play the sort of Xhaka box to box role, then you've got to think, okay, I don't mind seeing 40-50 max, I'd say. But then if he's coming in to be rotation with Odegaard, I don't see why we'd spend that much on him when we've got Vieira and Smith Rowe. So
yeah.
For me, I think these Mount links are more to the fact that Smith Rowe could be leaving, rather than that he's coming in as a same position as Rice and Gundogan.
Potentially, because there's rumours about Smith Rowe as well. On one hand, we've got rumours that he's learning the 8 role. On the other hand, we've got rumours that we're taking bids for him this summer. Mount, I mean, like I just said, before you called in, I've seen a fair bit of him, and I think he's a good player, but it just doesn't grab me as that signing that will elevate us. I think it's a good option to have, and you said 40-50 max. I'm probably looking at 35 mil rising to 45-50 if a certain number of metrics are met. If we win the Premier League, you get another 5. If he gets a certain number of goals, you get another 3, or how deals are structured. I'd probably do that for him.
Yeah, I see that, but I'm only saying that because I see us probably getting either that fee or just a bit below for Smith Rowe, and if Chelsea see that, they're going to obviously think Mount's a better player than Smith Rowe, so they'll obviously say a bit higher. But to be honest, I don't think we need Mount as much as the rumours are saying.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Is there any other midfielders that you have in mind that haven't been mentioned that you wouldn't mind seeing a bid for or seeing come through the door?
To be honest, I'm fully sold on Rice, Caicedo, and Gundogan. That's what I'm fully sold on, and I think we need minimum 3 now that Xhaka's going. I was saying 2 before Xhaka went, but now that he probably is going, we do need minimum 3, and I wouldn't blow the whole budget on midfielders because there are other positions we do need to prioritise as well, but we do need to adjust the midfield first.
Yeah, when you say Rice, Caicedo and Gundogan, I just think to myself, that's the perfect mix of athleticism, heart, passion, experience. I mean, them 3, they come in with a lot to offer. So, and I'm like you, I'm set on Rice. I've been set on Rice and Caicedo, and ever since the Xhaka rumours started a couple of weeks ago, I said Gundogan's on a free, just go for him. So my mind's firmly set on those 3 targets, Aaron.
Yeah, so even in January, I thought we should have just done all we could to get Caicedo.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more difficult in summer.
Now there's going to be 2-3 other clubs trying to get him as well. So
yeah,
I think January's probably our best chance, but we'll see now.
Yeah, I mean, someone in the chat just said Lavia as well. Obviously, Southampton. It goes against what I'm saying about too young. That would be another player that needs time, needs development, needs games, and so on. But he is a player I admire. He is a player that quite possibly has a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, I like Lavia. I think City do have that buyback next summer, don't they? Not this summer.
Yeah, next
So
summer, 2024.
if we are going to get that deal does need to go through this summer. But again, I think the only reason why we would result to going for Lavia is because the club don't want to pay the money for Caicedo and Rice, and I don't want to hear that to be the excuse, to be honest. So
yeah, we've heard that too many times, Aaron.
Hmm.
We've heard that too many times. Listen, Aaron, we've got callers waiting, and I got super chats here. So pleasure as always, my guy. We'll talk again real soon.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, take care of yourself, Aaron. Have a good day. Super chat from. Let me go to Ricky's one next, and then I'll get Miles's one. Ricky says, totally with you, Turkish. Caicedo and Rice is critical along with Gundogan. I feel Maddison is a much better option than Mount. Looking forward to Big Six tonight. Big Six. Arsenal surely put me in it these last few weeks, but hey, what can we do? Miles says, Turkish, I think the fact Gundogan is a City player is irrelevant. If there's a top class player available on a free in a position we need, then we should be making inquiries. I'm kind of with you on that, Miles. When people compare it to buying some of the Chelsea rejects over the years, and I'll call the Chelsea ones rejects because that's essentially what they were, in my honest opinion. Chelsea didn't really have a desire to keep hold of Louise, to keep hold of Willian, to keep hold of Czech, and we just scooped them up, and we've come a long way from there in terms of the quality and the side, what we've done throughout this season in terms of consistency, quality, points tally come the end. I know it's not the points tally everyone would have hoped for after hitting 50 in the first 19 games, but it's definitely an improvement. I think we need to be shopping a bit more wisely, a bit more shrewdly, and I do think wise and shrewd are both words that could be used for a potential Gundogan income in this summer. So I'm with you on that. And Waleed says, I wouldn't mind Zaha and Gundogan on a free transfer. Zaha, not for me. I feel like our left-hand side with Martinelli and Trossard is one of the only positions we're set in, both starter and backup. That's just my opinion on it. I know Trossard's form over the last, the back end of the season, people have had questions about it. Probably harshly saw his minutes limited after Jesus came back into the fold, but when he's started for us or when he's come off the bench post international break, we haven't really seen the Trossard we saw previous to the international break. So there is understandably some worries there, but for me, that left hand side in the forward situation, we need a striker and we need a right-sided forward to back up Saka, to rotate with Saka, to push Saka. So yeah, I'm not with the Zaha links if there are any links, but Gundogan 100%. Next caller, production. Aston? Yes, the Aston. What are you saying, Aston?
Yo, how's it going, my guy? By the way, I've been seeing how you're moving, Mr. Worldwide. Your channel's growing. You're feeding everybody on that channel. Love when my family's thriving, bro.
Love my guy, man. I'm just here trying, man. I'm just here talking football. That's what it is. What are you saying, though? How's everything, man?
Yeah, everything's good. I was super excited. I got the that post that Arsenal did of the mural or whatever, and I'm right there on it. It's really cool to see. Gotta give big love to the support. Gotta give big love to the Gooners all around the world. We've had so many great times this year, and more to come this summer, which we're really excited about. But let's talk about Gundogan, man. How are you feeling about that?
I'll take him. I mean, before even the Xhaka rumours of leaving, raised its head a couple of weeks ago, if you had asked me in January, would you take Gundogan for Xhaka, direct swap, 100%? 100, without a shadow of a doubt. I feel like it's an upgrade. And now with Xhaka seemingly wanting to leave, with potentially his minutes diminishing next season, I think it makes the most sense because we're not getting a hell of a lot of money for Xhaka. So it's not like we can reinvest that money on the leadership and experience that Gundogan brings. So if he's available, like Miles said in the super chat, being a City player for me is irrelevant.
So yes and no. I agree with so much of what you're saying. I like Gundogan. I think he's an incredible player. I think is an obvious upgrade on Xhaka. I think he's everything we need. I do have an issue that he's a City player. And the reason why I have an issue is not because of this whole City reject thing. It's about him as a player. he's not, his spot on the team isn't up for grabs. Gundogan starts for City. He isn't falling out with Pep. There's no reason why he's leaving City. Like, why would you leave City to go to a team that isn't going to necessarily win everything if that's the trajectory of your career is still going upward? And that's where the difference is between him and, say, like Zinchenko and Jesus. Zinchenko and Jesus were kind of pushed out, and they were looking for challenges so that they can end their career on a high. They were still going up. I don't necessarily feel that's the same situation with Gundogan. Now, I take his experience, I take his heart, but I don't want players that aren't hungry. And that's what that's kind of something that I fear with Gundogan coming. You kind of see that a little bit with the Chelsea players. You know, we take all these Chelsea players that have won leagues. They don't believe they're going to win the league with Arsenal. That they're not coming over here because they think they can win the league. They're coming over here because it's a nice job. It's a wonderful city. It's got great perks. And, you know, they're going to be playing at a relatively high level, but they're not necessarily thinking, you know, going to go out and win the treble and do three-peats and do all those things. And that's the little bit of mentality fear I have with Gundogan. But at the end of the day, if Mikel wants him, Mikel gets what he wants. I think he's proven at this point that he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? I don't disagree with what you just said. I mean, part of the reason I didn't want these Chelsea players was because I just asked myself, how hungry are they? They've won Champions Leagues, they've won the Premier League multiple times. It just felt like we was bringing them in on the back end when Chelsea no longer needed them, and I questioned their hunger to succeed at Arsenal. I guess that same logic can be applied to Gundogan too, and that is the one worry for me, is why is he moving on? And is it for more money? Is it for a longer contract? Is it because he wants a new challenge? I'm not too sure what it is, because he's so integral to City that if he was to leave City and join Arsenal, would it be for the wage? That's a big question.
Yeah, like, because, I mean, let's just face it, he also got Barcelona that he could go to. Barcelona been in for him. I know that he'd be loved in Germany as well. I mean, that's where he came from. So it's not like, you know, he doesn't have options to go to other teams that will maybe win the league or do incredible things. Why would you put yourself in a not as good position to win the league anymore? I'm not saying that's not me trying to down Arsenal at all. That's just me pointing out that I don't think that when you look at our two teams and you look at the resources spent between those teams, that you can't say that City are the better bet for winning the league next year. Not saying that we won't win the league, because I absolutely think that we will. I think we have a really good shot of building a team. Matter of fact, I think this summer is critical, because I think that from the foundations that we built this season, we can go on and do something really special in the next few years. You know, we can break up that dominance that City has. We can push for Champions Leagues. We can do all of these things, but I don't know if we do it with somebody that's taken a step down.
I get you. What about Mount then? How do you see that one on the flip side? Someone younger, someone coming from our London rivals. I won't say league rivals because of the way they've moved this season, but
yeah, I was going to say, I mean, are they even London rivals? Aren't they like West Ham's rivals or something? I don't know, like relegation rivals. I ask Matisse what they're doing. I don't know. But my thing with Mount is I just never thought he's technically good enough. I think he's a player that has a lot of energy, and that energy translates into a lot of turnover. He presses the ball really, really hard, which I think would be a huge upgrade on Xhaka, don't get me wrong. But I think that the thing that we're missing in that 8 position is a little bit of creativity and a little bit of an ability to receive the ball in between the lines. And that requires a technical quality that I'm not quite sure Mount has. Now, again, if Arteta identifies them, I'm happy to put my hands up and say I'll be wrong next season if he does great. But for me, I would think somebody a little more creative, like a Maddison, in that position. Honestly, Rice and Caicedo both have better creative metrics than Mount. So I'm sold on them. But I'm with you where I say, listen, if we need 2 midfielders this summer. If Xhaka leaves, we need 3.
Yeah.
If something happens with Partey, we need 4. Like, it's that big a deal, because when you're building a squad, and we say this all the time, you want 2 players for each position. Well, we have 3 midfield positions. That's 6 players that we need in there. Plus, you want 1 just to kind of be the Tomiyasu guy that can play in all the different roles in case something crazy happens, right?
Yeah.
So we're short. We knew going into this season that we were short. So it's about time we really address this midfield issue that I think that's been aching us since Ozil and Ramsey,
Let me end with this question then, Aston. Three midfielders, we agree on that. In an ideal world, who would the three names be for you?
I mean, in a perfect world, it's Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and Jude Bellingham. But
let's not say ideal world. Let's say realistically ideal world.
Let's say Rice and Caicedo, I'm absolutely sold on with like a Maddison, a Bellingham. I take a Gundogan. Like if we get Rice and Caicedo, I take a Gundogan. Okay. I just wouldn't take Rice and Gundogan or Caicedo and Gundogan. It has to be all three.
And I've heard that Arsenal will go. Well, what I've heard through the grapevine, and again, I look at this the same way I look at In the Nose and these Twitter journalists and so on, with a pinch of salt, but through the grapevine I've heard Arsenal will go for a midfielder on a free this summer, and Gundogan's been linked today by David Ornstein. When I initially got this news about a week or so ago, just under a week ago, I looked at the midfielders available and Gundogan was one of them. Tielemans was another. It's a name that hasn't come up this summer, but it came up a hell of a lot last summer. What would you make of a Tielemans coming in as a free transfer?
Tielemans, I would take on a free. I wouldn't pay anything for him. I have motivational issues with him as well. Maddison, I don't have the same issues. Maddison has tried at Leicester no matter what the environment is. Tielemans, sometimes, as their fans will say, goes a little missing. He doesn't have the heart sometimes. So I don't know if that's something wrong with Leicester or something wrong with him. But I take him on a free. He's absolutely technically good enough. I think he's better than Mount technically. Okay.
It'll be interesting. I see a comment here saying no, and I get that. I understand why, because like Aston said, I've got issues about his motivation and standing up to the fight when the going gets tough. So that would be one big doubt I have about Tielemans for sure. Aston, we're going to link up in the summer for sure. Couple months away, pre-season tour. But I'm sure I'll talk to you before then anyway. So look after yourself. Hope the family's well, and we'll talk soon, my guy.
Absolutely, man, and keep doing what you're doing. We see you.
Love, my brother. Come on. Super chat here from Aaron. The Aaron who called earlier. He said he forgot to mention in his call-in that bringing in Gundogan is also perfect to help the development of Rice and Caicedo, who have world-class potential. That's another way of looking at it. With Xhaka headed out, and even with Xhaka staying, I mean, the young midfielders at the club don't necessarily have that winner amongst the ranks that can help guide them, can help motivate, push them, can help mold their game to have what's necessary in a title winning team. So that's another angle that we can look at with the Gundogan experience that comes in if he was to come in. Next caller, production. Wilson, I believe. Yes, he's got a goal, blood.
How you doing, Turkish? How you doing?
My guy, AFTV legend. What are you saying?
I'm good. Before I talk about the transfer rumours, I have to analyse Arsenal's season. I have to say that Arsenal have had a brilliant season. Nobody expected Arsenal to challenge for the league. I felt over the last month or so, our complacency and silly mistakes cost us. The game that did it for me was West Ham away. I'll tell you why. Because you don't throw away 2-goal leads in 2 consecutive games. And the moment that we conceded that second goal against West Ham, I was fuming. I literally threw my headphones down. I was losing it like mad. And then we've lost our confidence since. And as an Arsenal fan, we have to congratulate Manchester City. They are an incredible side, well-deserved champions.
Yeah, I agree.
And you said this so many times, Turkish. It feels like we've gifted the title to them. You know what I mean? Because of our silly mistakes. We've only got we've only got ourselves to blame. Nobody else. Don't blame the referees or nobody else. It's ourselves. We did not do our job. We did not get it over the line. It's as simple as that, Turkish, as far as I'm concerned. But hopefully we will learn from our mistakes, and hopefully we'll get stronger from this. In terms of the transfer rumours, in terms of Gundogan, I have to say he is experienced, very experienced, Premier League proven. He's got a winning mentality. Imagine if we bring in Rice and Casido with Gundogan. Mamma mia. I tell you what, it would be perfect, because Gundogan could potentially help those two players to settle in. Not just to settle in, but to help, how can I say it, to help them to provide, like, it's called that strong mentality to those two players to get them screwed on.
Yeah.
That's where I stand.
Because they, you know, as Aaron said in his super chat, they'd have someone to look up to in terms of he's done it all in this league. He's captained a team through it all in this league. And at the moment, we don't necessarily have that. Yes, people will say Xhaka is our leader and whatnot, but Xhaka doesn't have that either. You don't have players looking at Xhaka and saying he's done it all at the club. Yes, he's turned around his whatever you call it, he's turned around the opinion of a lot of fans over the last 12 to 18 months. But in terms of looking at someone and saying that's someone that I could learn a hell of a lot from, Gundogan would be another level.
Absolutely. Even though his experience, I do feel he take us on another level. And number two is the way he performed against Real Madrid and other games. He was exceptional, absolutely exceptional. He would provide that particular guile and that particular creativity to our midfield, because we kind of are lacking a little bit of that. You know, Santi Cazorla, he provided that guile and that creativity. We're lacking that a little bit. For me, I believe we need, well, if this was like a month ago, I would have said we need two midfielders. Since Xhaka is gone, I believe we need three.
Yeah.
Because if we buy two midfielders, and imagine if one of our midfielders get injured, we're doomed, Turkish, doomed. We'll be falling short again. And number two is we need at least another striker, a proper number 9. Look at Haaland. It's incredible. He's taking Man City to a whole different level.
Yeah.
To compete with Man City, we need to be ruthless this summer and get a quality striker. And thirdly, we need another winger to help Saka out. He's played every single game, Turkish. He's shattered.
Yeah.
He's absolutely shattered. We need to help him out, and also another centre back to help to provide cover for Saliba as well. Injuries have cost us. It's not the main reason. It's one of the reasons why. Well, we're not winning the league because of some of those reasons, and we've not been good enough. We need to learn from our mistakes. Arteta's got to fix up his game management at times because of the timing of the substitutions. Sometimes it brings on the wrong ones. He's got to fix that. This has got to be addressed, Turkish. It's as simple as that.
I completely agree with everything you said, and all the positions you said too. Completely agree. Striker, 2 midfielders, 3 with Xhaka going, a right-sided forward to back up and rotate and push Saka, and either a right back that allows Ben White to be Saliba's backup, or a centre back that becomes Saliba's backup.
Possibly a left back as well. Because what if Tini leaves? We might need a left back as well. I believe we need at least 5. At least five, because we cannot afford to leave ourselves short. We can't afford to do that. If we do that again, we're not going to win the league again. It's as simple as that. We know how good City are going to be. They will strengthen again. Chelsea surely will strengthen again. Liverpool will strengthen again. Newcastle will strengthen again. Manchester United will strengthen again. We need to do the same and be ruthless. Yeah. Simple as that.
Nice one, Wilson. Wilson's your name, right?
Yeah, Wilson.
Now I can put a name to the legendary interview that you did. But Wilson, it's been a pleasure talking to you. But this time you got to go, blood.
Hey!
We'll talk again soon. We'll talk again soon, Wilson. Take care of yourself.
You too.
Nice one, my bro. No super chats have come in. I know the chat's going off. 880 people here, so hit the like button. Let's get the likes up. Who we got next? Production? Jasmeet, I believe. Did I say that right?
That's right.
Nice to meet you, Jasmeet. How you feeling?
Yeah. So Turkish, I was hearing you talk about the transfers. So yeah, in ideal world, yes, we would like 3 midfielders, but and we also need improvements in other areas of the pitch. So we know how Arsenal works. So what I would do is I would bring Caicedo, Gundogan, and Vlahovic as my first 3 targets. And the reason for that is if we bring Caicedo, he can also cover as a right back. I would like start the season with Tomiyasu as the first choice right back, and Caicedo would be the backup, and Ben White would be the backup for Saliba. And then again, I say Vlahovic because I'm not convinced with Gabriel Jesus, as he spends a lot of time in midfield. So what I would do is I would put Jesus as a backup for Vlahovic, and also Jesus can act as a backup for Bukayo Saka, because Jesus can also play as a right winger, right?
Yeah.
And our left wing is already sorted. We have 2 players, Martinelli and Trossard. So that's how I would view first. I would go for these 3 players first: Caicedo, Gundogan, and Vlahovic, rather than focusing on 3 midfielders first. So that's my first preference. Yeah.
Not a bad shout, because I mean we're tending to talk about midfielders, but you are right. I think a different profile of striker is a necessity. I think if Tierney goes, we need to bring in another left back. Yes, we've got Brooke Norton-Cuffy on the right side, and he's done well on loan this season, but I think probably another loan will do him the world of good. He's still very young, so I'm with you. I mean, in terms of priorities, I can't say two midfielders is more important than a different profile of striker. I think they're just as important. There's different areas, and they're all equally as important, in my opinion. And you are right. If we were to sign a striker like a Vlahovic or whatever other strikers, a Hoagland or whatever his name is, apparently linked to Man United, but he's been causing. So if we was to sign a different profile of striker, that allows Jesus to rotate with Saka as well when needed. And right. you use the word backup, and the sensitivity of some Arsenal fans, they're going to listen to that and think, backup, how dare you? You don't value what Jesus has brought. But the fact of the matter is, a rotational option, someone that can share the minutes, someone that can come in when legs are tired, whether they're deemed backup, whether they're deemed rotational options. All in all, if you look at Manchester City and throughout the season and the minutes, maybe Foden has played here and there, the minutes maybe Mahrez has played here and there, I'm sure they would have liked more minutes, but they're down for the cause, and we need a squad that's down for the cause. And I'm with you on all of those positions you mentioned. What about Mount? Because you mentioned Gundogan already, you'd be happy with that. Mount, are you happy with those links?
Mount, I don't really get that part, because honestly, if we are to play the 8th role, I would much prefer Gundogan. And honestly, he's going to play Odegaard in the 8th role. So he's not going to all of a sudden start playing Mount and Gundogan ahead of Odegaard. So again, I would rather spend 50 million on Vlahovic rather than spending that on Mount. I don't know how much are we going to spend in total, but my first priority would be these 3 people. And one more point I want to add is our fans are so sensitive towards Mikel, and they never really listen anything against him. It's okay to call him out in terms of substitutions or tactics. We shouldn't forget, as much as he has improved this season, it did take him 4 years for us to reach top 4, whereas Eddie Howe did move from 17th to top 4 in a year. Conte did when Conte took over, he reached top 4 within 6 months. And he took over a team which was at 7th at that pace. So he is inexperienced. So it is okay to call him out, whenever he has some flaws. I don't get this. Whenever I have argued with someone on Twitter or my friends, they're always so kind of backing Mikel, and they don't listen anything against him, which I believe, I don't know why that is. He doesn't have any experience. He has nothing to, if Pep comes in and he has a bad 2 seasons, then we can say that, he has experience behind him, but Mikel has nothing to go by. He has 0 experience. So he has been backed a lot. Honestly, 400 million, that's a lot of money. So again, yeah, that's my point. Yeah, we need to see constant improvement.
My friend, social media would be a better place without Twitter. That's all I've got to say. That's why I don't spend much time on that app, because you got a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy defending, whatever they want to defend, and they defend it like it's their little brother or little sister you're talking about. We all have opinions on the football club we all love. If it differs, so fucking what? So what? I mean, I'm getting some stick for saying it's a season to forget in my last fan cam, but if that's how I feel, why is someone else going to be angry about that? If that's how I feel, what, my feelings are going to change because someone else is angry? It is what it is, Jasmeet. But thank you for calling in, my bro. You made a few good points, and I agree with you on the positions that you want to see filled this summer.
All right, man. Talk later.
Take care, man. Have a good rest of your day. Here we got we got a super chat in from Orhan. It says, Arsenal looking at Gundogan when City are looking at Kimmich. Levels. Well, we knew about these levels prior to you mentioning the super chat, if I'm honest with you. When we're talking about levels, Man City are a different level to everyone else, not just Arsenal. So it's hard to compete with that. It's hard to compete with 5 titles in 6 years and a treble around the corner with Pep Guardiola at the helm and enough money to cover all the wages necessary. So levels can be said to everyone else in the league when compared to Manchester City. But yeah, production, who we got next? Harvey or Javi. There we go. What are you saying?
It's all good, man. I call myself Javi all the time. You're fine.
Cool. What are you saying, man?
Man, just like I said, been looking forward to the summer since February, so I'm glad we can finally have those discussions.
Can we still win the league, Javi?
I still believe. I still believe. I still believe. I'm sure there's a black hole and a star collapsing somewhere that might dilate time, and we might be able, through an intergalactic dimension, be able to, a lot of
the 115 charges. Who knows? That might come back to bite them in the next 7 days.
Let's go. I love court proceedings.
What are you saying about the Gundogan amount links that Ornstein's come up with today?
So yeah, listen, about the Gundogan stuff, great player, and I think definitely he elevates us. But Turkish, I think you and I would agree that we're probably 5-6 players away from being the finished product.
Yep.
And that doesn't even include, the questions surrounding Emil Smith-Rowe and Fabio Vieira. I think you and I are probably on the same page in terms of we probably sell both Eddie and Balogun and want to bring in an elite level striker. So there's still a lot of questions surrounding some of the players in this squad, even though we still need 5 or 6 additional incomings. Mm-hmm. So when I look at that, I ask myself, realistically speaking, how many transfer windows or how many years are we from actually being that finished product? And and if you look at the history of how we've done business, come on, Turkish, we're not going to bring 5-6 players in this summer. We'll do 3, maybe 4 if we get a good price. Let's be real. Mm-hmm. So when I look at that, Gundogan, 32 years of age, by the time that he starts coming to the end of that contract, we're probably going to need to replace him so that we can finally be in a position to compete. Because next year, these players don't have any experience playing Champions League football. They don't have the physical, the psychological, or the emotional experience that comes with playing in multiple competitions. Because if you lose, let's say, a big quarterfinal away game at the Bernabeu, and you pick yourself up in 3 days' time and go to, a North London derby and separate the emotions or disappointment from the previous fixture into a different competition, these players don't have that experience. So it can't happen, but I don't think that we're going to be able to push for a league title the way we did last year, given the fixture congestion and the lack of experience. So do I want a player like Gundogan who can elevate us? Yes, but by the time that we're actually the finished product in 2-3 years now, time where we can actually really compete on all fronts, we're going to have to be moving him along. So is it not better instead to invest in a player that's a little bit younger, who let's say is 23, 24 years of age, so that in 2 years' time, when he's entering the very beginning of his prime, is when we can actually go ahead and build a dynasty that can last us, 4 or 5 years of top level competition.
Yeah, so some aspects there that you mentioned kind of describe Mason Mount. So what would be your opinion of him? Because he actually comes with some experience in the European competitions too. So what would you feel if we was to go out and get him in, let's say, this summer?
So listen, I think that Mason Mount 2-3 years ago was at a very, very high level and everyone rated him. I think we've seen a dip very recently. Yeah. But we saw the best of Mason Mount, playing under a 4-3-3 and as a very advanced number 8. I think Tuchel employed him in a very high 8, but it was a 2 midfield scenario that had a lot of, work rate in there. Mm-hmm. And we've seen now it's just Chelsea's been an absolute mess. But I can definitely understand and again, you know, all these ITKs are all full of crap. But if the rumors are to be true, I can definitely understand why Mikel would be targeting him, because he's someone who's played in a deeper midfield position and that 2 midfield role under Tuchel. He's also played as an advanced number 8 under Frank Lampard. He's played on the left wing role as well. We know we have a lot of fluidity and interchanging, which Mikel likes. He's sometimes even been employed as a false 9. So you can definitely see why that profile of player is one that Mikel would like. And I think that even though we're not too sure and there are some questions around him, I think that put him under Mikel Arteta's system and have him work with Mikel, and you can definitely see a player there, because he has shown tremendous quality at some points. And he was Chelsea's golden boy for a very, very long time. And they haven't had their share of superstars and fantastic players over the last couple of years to just be throwing away compliments like that. They're actually kind of harsh as a club when it comes to judging their players. So I can definitely understand that signing. And if we get him for a good price, like you said, 30, 35 mil, 24 years of age, yeah, he can definitely be that guy for us going forward.
So I'm going to assume that you agree that we need 3 midfielders in with Xhaka going as well. Who would be the ideal 3 for you? Do you have 3 names off the top of your head?
Yeah, well, you know me, I want to get rid of Partey as well, because he falls into the same situation with Gundogan. Like, if we're not going to be the finished product in the next year or two, I'm just going to be forced to sell Partey when he's 32, 33 for a bag of chips. You know, might as well sell him now and get that Caicedo, get that Zubimendi, you know what I mean? So my ideal 3, based on who we've been linked to, I really like Ryan Gravenberch over at Bayern Munich. He's unsettled. He seems to be linked to Liverpool. He comes from the Ajax Academy. He's played as a 5, as a 6, as an 8, as a 10. He fits perfectly into the way we play, but there's been no links, so I'm not going to play FIFA over here. So who we've been linked to, I think for what makes sense financially and everything of that sort, I think Rice as the starting CDM. I want him to be Partey's replacement. I would like Zubimendi as his backup or to compete.
Good shot.
Okay. And then I would like, Mason Mount as the Xhaka replacement. And we go into next year with 6 midfielders of Rice, Zubimendi, Odegaard, Vieira, Mount, Emil Smith-Rowe. And if Emil Smith-Rowe or Vieira, don't, let's say, cut it next summer, bring in guys to replace them. But I think that's a good way to go about it for the coming years.
So who would be your backup for Mount then? Would it be Emil Smith-Rowe?
Emil Smith-Rowe, yeah, Emil Smith-Rowe. And if he can't listen, he's a talented player. He's 6'1", so he definitely has the physique to be able to be a unit in that midfield. It's just a matter of whether or not he can actually play with his back to goal. He's a fantastic player when he's on the ball and he's driving and he's cutting on the inside. But it's when he has to come in deep with his back to goal and he has some guy pressing him that he needs to be able to, turn and drive and be able to be that guy who can spread the ball in between the lines. But even then, if Mount does that job for him, or let's say we play Rice and Zubimendi, who they can alternate amongst themselves, or we play in a double pivot when we play against the big teams. We saw City switch that up when we're expecting a very, very high press. You go to that double pivot. Then we can then Smith-Rowe can then be the guy that you play alongside Odegaard as a very, very advanced number 8 when you're playing against a low block. And what you went there is just more fluidity. And then you can have Trossard, Jesus, and Emil Smith-Rowe just constantly interchanging and having such fluidity on the left-hand side. That's a very difficult threat to deal with, especially if Zinchenko's on the underlap playing in that inverse role. So there's a part for him to play there. It's just a matter of whether or not he's going to be able to continue to deal with the little niggles and little injuries, and whether he can actually establish himself as having a clear role. But I expect Smith-Rowe to deal with a very similar thing that Grealish dealt with. You saw how Grealish kind of struggled since he was playing on the left-hand side, cutting inside in Villa. He then had to either just play as a number 8, which Guardiola tried to utilize him, and then he just said, just play as an all-out winger, hug the touchline. It took some, learning and development. So maybe we got to give that shot to Smith-Rowe, given what he's done for us and the fact that he's from Hell End. But one more year, and if he can't cut it, time to go.
So Rice, Zubimendi, and Mason Mount will be your ideal 3 from the ones that have been linked. But
we've been linked to
Gravenberch as well. I think that's a great shout. If I'm honest with you, I actually agree.
And he's been linked for like 25 million.
Yeah, that's how much they paid for him. I think 25-30 million. So
and it's just like, what else do you want? He's like 6'2", incredibly technical, comes from the Ajax Academy, who literally invented the style of football that we're trying to emulate. You know what I mean? Like that guy's gonna slot into your system like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's perfect for that number 8 role. Perfect for that number 8 role, because he gives you that balance that you need, especially against the tough teams in midfield. But I mean, he was available on a free transfer and we didn't go for him. I don't understand what this club does, but whatever.
You know what?
We'll see.
I was gonna have a last question for you. What I'll do is I'll leave you with the last question that next Monday will probably be a better time to answer it, post final game of the season, and that would be, what's the bare minimum for next season? And I'm gonna save that for next Monday, because we know we're going to finish second, but I think it's a better conversation to have once the season's done, dusted, we've gone past it. You can give me your thoughts on what you want to see minimum, because you've already mentioned that you doubt whether we can stick up a title challenge again with Champions League football. So what would be your minimum expectations in order to not necessarily be happy with the outcome? Because I think none of us should be happy if we're not challenging for a league title, but for you to be content with the direction Arsenal are moving in. So have you... No worries, man. Just smash it. I was doing that yesterday as well. I was smashing things all over the gaff, man. So no
I bottled it. That's what I was. I literally just like my club. I bottled it. Sorry about that.
Nice one, Avi. Go find yourself another drink, my bro, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, bro. Take care.
Nice one. We got a super chat again from Aaron. Called in earlier. He says, if Arteta wants Mount over Gundogan, I trust Arteta, but the decision falls on him. Edu is on his last chance and must get the players Arteta wants. Again, I'm finding it difficult to disagree with you, Aaron. Not that I want to, but I completely agree with everything you said there. I think Arteta's got enough credit in the bank for me to sit back and see what he does, and hopefully we do a lot. Next caller, production. Last caller, Elliot, as always. What are you saying, my bro?
Turkish, how are you?
I'm alright. Can't complain.
Excellent. Well, Arsenal aren't doing excellent. I'm not doing too excellent after that performance this weekend. But, all that I cling to hope for is a better transfer window. That's all we can do. We clap them off on the weekend. Hopefully they end with a great result and move forward. But again, I can't wait for this transfer window to begin, quite simply, because that end to the season was
forgettable. To say the least. So Elliot, talk to me about the transfer window there, because I'm completely with you. I mean, I'm just waiting on that transfer window. I'm waiting for the first player to come through the door, because this season I want to put it behind me now, and a lot of people might find that harsh, because the majority of the season it was looking great, but the majority of the season it's only the majority, it's not the full season, and the full season hasn't turned out in our favour. So I'm looking forward now and hoping next season does, but before next season we've got to fill in some positions. So these links to Gundogan and Mount, let's talk about Gundogan first, and offer your thoughts on that situation, Elliot.
Gundogan is a hell of a professional. Let's face facts. He's reached the top in the Premier League and in other leagues. To be fair, he's a proven veteran. But the thing about it is he's a veteran, and to be dedicating a number of years to him it's a chance. I don't know if we should be taking at this point in time. I think he's a rental. He is a bandage to me, even though he is a great professional. But how many years you're going to get out of him? Yeah, that's the question you have to ask. Yes, he can be there for leadership qualities. Hopefully he can lead us over the line, but is he there for the long haul? No. Is he a bridge? Yes. And it's the sort of chance that you're taking. I mean, let's face facts. What Arteta wants right now are proven Premier League players. That's who all these links are leading us towards. And he's worked with Gundogan before. He trusts him. So he wants to bring him in. So he sees him like in a Zinchenko, Jesus sort of role. So a proven winner, and he wants more leadership in the side, because quite simply we don't have enough leaders in the side. It was shown at Nottingham, for crying out loud. We lack leadership. We lack the sort of person who would grab by the scruff of the neck and lead us forward and say, hey, and get us back into matches. And Gundogan can do that. And he's a proven professional, very, very technical, very, very cool in his position. But I take him, but with a bit of trepidation, because is he here for the long haul? No. He's here through our period of maturity, and but he's on the list. Yes, let's say that.
What about Mason Mount then?
Mason Mount. There's a bit of something. I mean, everybody will say he's a Chelsea reject. Yes, however, he could be a redemption story to us. I can see with him there is a plan for Arteta to use him, And when usually you have a plan for Arteta to use a player, it usually works out pretty well. So we can't really go against the idea because as Javi was saying and others were saying in the chat, you plan to use him as an advanced state. You plan to use him as that guy in the box, or where Xhaka was lacking. This is where Mason Mount can step in and grab us some more goals and be a little more lethal and focused in the box area.
Yeah,
and can lead and definitely be that inside eight that we need in order to as part of our front five. So I can get my head around Mount and see we'll use him, but it's a reclamation project, and it's thinking of should we go out and buy Mount or should we keep an Emil Smith Rowe? And quite simply, it was shown in the last match in Nottingham. Things are broken down between him and Arteta.
Must have, yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be sticking around at the end of the year. I really don't. I really, really don't. Don't be surprised if he. But I would want him to stay. I really like Emil Smith Rowe to stay, but it's all about Arteta's whims at the end of the day. Will they be able to, meld back and get back on the same page? If not, then Mason Mount is a prospect.
Yeah, question marks indeed. Not only Smith Rowe, but other players too. Tierney being one of them. But let's say 3 midfielders walk through the door this summer. Elliot, last question: what would those 3 names be for you, ideally?
Rice, Caicedo, and if we get Rice and Caicedo, I'll take a Mason Mount. I'll take Mason Mount. But it has to be Rice and Caicedo additionally, because I see our midfield like a Real Madrid midfield. With the original one with Modric, Cruz, and his name I don't recall, but I see that as the foundation, right? And with Caicedo, he is that holding midfield that we've always looked for and we've always wanted. With Rice, he can go and he can fit in any position. He's very, very versatile, as is Caicedo. And with Mount, we have more scoring prowess. So I would like 3 to be a part of our midfield. Those would be my 3. I like the shout of Gravenberch, though. I really like his shout. I think he can be a really good, good fallback position if necessary.
Yeah.
You can get him on the cheap as well. But right now, I would definitely say those would be my 3 at the moment. And I can't wait for that to happen. But do I trust it? No. If in the clear dawn of day, I could see a Rice, I could see a Gundogan, and I could see a Mason Mount come in, and that does not thrill me to any great extent. But that's the reality of Arsenal Football Club. Will they go out and get all their targets? If they do, hey, I hold my hands up and I praise them to the heavens. But if they don't, that's who I see. Really coming is a Rice, Gundogan, Mount sort of scenario, and then we'll see if we can spend some money on Diaby. I don't know if we're going to get a striker in. I'll right back and a left back, yes, but those would be my my Arsenal 3 and my 3.
Yeah, and I completely get you. I agree with you there. If we're talking about Arsenal and the way we've done business, then Rice, Mount, and Gundogan probably sound more realistic than a Rice, Caicedo, and a Mount, especially when you look at how much we'd have to spend on those 3 players, north of 200 mil for sure if we wanted all 3. Elliot, pleasure talking to you. I'm sure we'll talk again next Monday. Look after yourself, my bro, and hope the family's well.
Thank you very much, Turkish. Hope the family, your young family as well. And let's look forward to Saturday. Hopefully we can just end the season off with a bang, even though we it's really a whimper at this point.
Yeah, it is. Just got to get through that last game, and it's all steam ahead for the transfer window, Elliot. Take care of yourself, brother.
We'll talk.
Nice one, Elliot. Nice one. Couple super chats before we do wrap up. Ryan says, I called in from early, but I'm not sure why I couldn't get on today. Hopefully chat to you sometime over the summer, Turks, as I can't jump on next week. Ryan, I'll be here throughout the summer as well. And listen, we talk anyway, Big Six and on Instagram, whatever it is. Hope you're good. And he also adds, Gundogan's a good player and I'd have him at Arsenal, but Mount I wouldn't even entertain, as I think Smith Rowe's a better technician. Overall, I wouldn't want both. Rice, Caicedo and De Jong are the three. De Jong is such a shout as well. If there's any chance he's available, and it's around the figures that we heard last summer, 70 million that apparently they wanted from Man United. Might even have been 60, but I think it was 70. I think that's a great price for a great player that's still yet to reach his prime. So yeah, that is a good shout, Ryan. Thank you to everyone that's called in. We're here every Monday, FanZone live from 5. It's me on Mondays, Robbie on Fridays, 5 p.m, same time. So yeah, take part, download the AFTV Plus app, follow the instructions. It's simple enough to do, and I'm sure I'll talk to you guys and girls real soon. Love for the love, people. Hit the like button on the way out, and yeah, tune in again real soon. Peace.